What is going on, guys? In today's video I will show you the best grenade ranger build and part of Exile 2. So in this guide I will give you a quick overview of this setup. Then I will explain what skill gems and upgrades should you focus on. Then as well we'll see what is the best gear and how to get it for both the leveling and mid game. And then finally we will go over the passive skill tree, stats, your skill rotations, and even what charm should you use, so we would be able to get the highest damage possible and much more. If you are looking for this build on the website, then click my link in this video's description or the pinned comment. This setup is the gas grenade build that has very high movement speed along with the lightning warp to teleport around even faster. So we will be exploding our gas grenades with explosive shot for large amounts of damage. That will help us to clear a big amount of groups in just few seconds. By using specific gear and building our skill tree around nodes like the cluster bombs, point blank and many more, will enable us to upgrade our grenades and projectile area and damage. So if you're ready to explode anyone and everyone that stands in our way, then let's get right into it. So with all of this said, let me show you the build. For the main class we have chosen to go with the ranger and our ascendancy is the deadeye. Then for the first skill we have the explosive shot with support gems such as the double barrel, scatter shot and the nimble reload. Then second we got the gas grenade with the fire infusion, inspiration and the martial tempo. Then next we got the oil grenade with encumbrance and the strip away. Then next we have Wind Dancer with the clarity and precision. Next we are using the blasphemy with the flammability and the magnified effect. Next we are using the lightning warp with the overcharge and the persistence. And finally for the last one we got the ball lightning with the acceleration and the arcane tempo. Most of this setup is structured around using both of the grenade skills, so we use gems and skills that will support and increase their area and damage, while the rest are powerful filler skills for utility that we can use until our main rotation comes back up. Next, let's quickly take a look at our leveling setup, which we need to use up until about level 25, where we get the gas grenade skill and unlock the cluster bombs node in the skill tree. So first off we have the lightning arrow with the martial tempo and the lightning infusion. Then next we got the lightning rod with the scatter shot and the magnified effect. Then next we also got the escape shot with concentrated effect and the deep freeze. And then finally we are using the Wind Dancer with the clarity and precision. This is your basic setup up until we increase our explosive damage. In the early stages of progression we are using the lightning arrow and the rod for AoV damage, while the escape shot and the Wind Dancer are for mobility and utility. Next up we have our passive skill tree. For most new players this can seem extremely daunting, so let me quickly explain. In very simple terms, every character is granted one passive skill point every time they level up, and are sometimes even granted more for completing certain quests. We have 3 node types, so small nodes, notable nodes and keystones, and all of them act as checkpoints that you want to reach and make a path to build around a specific playstyle. So let's take a look at our setup, and our main goal at the start is to reach this cluster bombs node. So we start here at the first evasion node, and make our way like this to the left, while on our way grabbing the blur, remoteless and the volatile cataclysm. And then from here we keep going down until we reach the circle and then get our cluster bombs. This node is very important to get early on, as this is exactly what allows the deadeye to start scaling well enough to use over other beginner skills. So then when that is done, then now we want to circle back to the beginning and get most of these nodes like the honed instincts, clean shot and the vile wounds. Then again let's go back on where we left off and get this entire circle while also grabbing this overwhelm. And now finally from here, just make your way all the way to the end, and the order in which you do it doesn't really matter, as long as you follow this path. And then now let's go all the way to the middle again, and for Ascension setup this is what we have. So at the beginning you want to unlock the projectile proximity specialization and choose this point blank version. Then now take this endless munitions, and then from here just unlock this whole entire path. To simplify my decision making and so you could easier understand, then we wanted to prioritize the cluster bombs, as this will give ourselves incredible amount of scaling. So by using it with the other nodes, we will actually enable our grenade skills to do damage, because by themselves with no setups they're very average. And then for the rest we invested into more stacking evasion, more skill effect duration and just more damage, which will make our grenades last forever. In PoE 2, earning skill points take a lot of hard work, so it will be smart not to spend your points recklessly. You can of course reset your passive points later, but only at a cost, so following a specific setup is extremely useful. If you are following this build, then make sure not to deviate from it, as some of the decisions that I made might not make sense at first, but is going to pay off later. So feel free to use the exact same path as I have right here. And don't forget to check this video's description to find the link for this website, and this should make it easier for you to follow the tree. Next we have our gear. The weapon of our choice is the Advanced Bombard Crossbow with increased crit chance and speed. And for the bonus stats, you want to get increased percentage to the physical damage, more accuracy, added physical damage and more levels to all projectile skills. Then for the helmet we have the Advanced Scout Helm with armor and evasion. And for the extras we want more armor, max life and cold resistance. Then for chest we have the Advanced Cloaked Mail with armor and evasion. For extras we want to get more armor, more evasion and max life and more to spirit. Then for the belt we have the mail belt with reduced flask charges. And for bonuses we want max life and any type of resistance like fire or cold. Then for the gloves we got the advanced double gauntlets with armor and evasion. For extras we want to get max life and fire or cold resistance. Then for boots we are using the advanced brace sabotans with armor and evasion. And for the extras we want to get increased movement speed, max life and cold resistance. Then for the first ring we got the golden hoop with more to all attributes, and for extras we want to get max life and lightning resistance. While on the second one we got the same golden hoop but this time with max life and cold and fire resistance. Both of these rings are very OP because of the base bonus to all attributes. And then finally for the amulet we got the lapis amulet with more to intelligence and bonus levels for all projectile skills. As the game just launched, so this is a starter setup, which should be more of an example of what stats and prefixes to look for. Your weapon will be the most important upgrade, so prioritize any type of flat damage or increased attack speed. As far as getting gear goes, by far the best way to get better gear in the campaign is to check the vendor in the town, each time you level up, as vendors change their offerings based on your level, so this is your best way to find upgrades. If you're desperately in the need of a weapon upgrade, then check the previous act's vendors as well. And you want to prioritize percentage gain to fire, cold and lightning resistances, as well as attributes and increases to maximum life on your gear. This build requires high attributes as you reach the end of the Act 3, so finding gear with it early will definitely pay off in the future. Having life regeneration on just a couple of pieces as well will allow you to be more conservative with your life flask usages. Then on top of this, we need to quickly look into the charms. Charms are incredibly useful, as by having the right one equipped at the right time can save you from dying. If you are struggling with certain bosses, then look into what gem type they are using, and then use that specific charm to increase your resistance. For me personally, I like to use the stone charm for when I'm stunned, then the ruby charm for fire damage, and finally the sapphire charm for cold damage. But as I said, which one you choose will entirely depend on the enemies that you are fighting, so feel free to experiment and mix and match. And now finally, let's quickly take a look at how this build will work. And for this one, we don't have a long rotation, as most of our playstyle is just built around two powerful skills. So first off, while killing regular monsters, you want to combo your gas grenades once or twice into the explosive shot to detonate the gas for multiple explosions. Most of the enemies will die to a single gas grenade combo, but we can also use the oil grenade against magic and rare monsters to apply the exposure debuff, which drastically will reduce their fire resistance. So subsequently, the second rotation is to now use the blasphemy, then the gas grenade, then the explosive shot, and then finally also add the oil grenade. For bosses, we want to also utilize the oil grenade and flammability to reduce the fire resistance even further, so that's why we use the blasphemy, which is linked to the flammability, and this causes it to always affect nearby enemies without any cast or time delay. And then finally, make sure that you're getting the inspiration support gem as soon as possible, because the gas grenade has a very high mana cost that can be hard to sustain, so the support inspiration gem will help us with that. Plus, don't forget about using the mana flask when you're at low levels and haven't fully built the setup. Let me know what you think about this build in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, then you definitely don't want to miss my previous top 3 build video, where I showed even more powerful builds. So click the screen now and I'll see you in the next one.